Hi, this is Chris Slogar from BuckeyeInklings.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make these gift card wallets, and we're making them with the envelope punch board. So I make them two different ways, and let me just show you how they look opened up. I like to make them with the two-sided designer paper because you get the advantage of seeing both sides of the paper in this project. And I have just on one side a card, and you can see these two little envelope flaps just look like they come together here. And I have a gift card on the other side. So that one opens like so. And this one also opens along that spine, but it's sort of a longer wallet and the cards fit in this way. So you can make them with cardstock as your base, as I have on this one, and you can see this is actually this version, but I've turned it on its side for my belly band. And in that case you use less designer paper because you're just decorating the front, but when you open it, you know, it's just a solid color, which you can decorate. But like I said, I like to use this designer paper that has the two coordinating sides because I think it's so pretty together. I'm using Festive Farmhouse paper from Stampin' Up, and the stamp set I'm using is Dashing Deer and the coordinating framelits. So let's get started on the base. You could see I've made mine as a holiday thank you, but you could use any kind of paper and change it up for any occasion by changing the paper and the stamps, right? That would be so easy. All right, so what you really need to know is how to make the base, and then you can get creative with your own decorations. Like I said, 8-inch square to start. I like to make my score lines on the outside, whatever's going to be the outside. And I am going to put my paper here at 3 1/4 inches on the envelope punch board and punch and score, just like I'm making an envelope. Turn and line up the pointer with that score line and punch and score again. And go all the way around until you have this. Okay, so sort of like making a regular envelope. What I'm going to do differently now on this wider section, I need to make this fold, okay, and that is going to be a score line from this corner to this corner. So where you have the wider triangle, you're going to put that on your either your trimmer, or I like to use, I've got a line darkened in here on my Simply Scored board, and I'm going to score from corner to corner, okay, to make that fold line. And then just go ahead and burnish all of those creases, every score line that you made there, including that center one. And fold the point into the intersection of the score lines, like so. And you're going to do that on both sides. And then take your snips and just using that edge as a guide, just cut away that portion. Okay, so you have something that looks like that on both sides. So we'll do that over here as well. Sorry, that's kind of awkward to hold in that position. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to round these end corners because they're the ones that are going to show in this case. So on the bigger flaps, I've just rounded those corners with my envelope punch board and fold these up. I like this flap last. Okay, so I'm just going to add some, you know what, I'm going to use the fast fuse, so we're not waiting for that to set. Just be careful when you add the adhesive at this point that you're only adding adhesive where the flap will cover. All right, and then there you have the wallet, and from this point you're just decorating. So that's super easy to make that piece, right? In this case, I've decorated with the braided linen trim. Takes about 15 inches, so let me go ahead. Actually, let me pull out. I do have a card already made for the inside. So this is a piece of cardstock 2 3/4 by 3 3/4, a cherry cobbler. And the Very Vanilla is 2 5/8 by 3 5/8. So that can go inside. I've already stamped it and got it ready here. Oops, I have a little piece not well trimmed there. And then I've got, like I said, a 15-inch length. I actually put down this scallop circle piece. I have this in Mossy Meadow already ready. And I put that down first. And I put my braided trim over it, like so. And we're going to tie a bow here on the side. You could tape that down if that helps you. To tie this bow. You could tie a knot if you don't like to tie a bow. Or you can make a belly band like I did on the other one. Oh, that's good. Okay, let me just pull that through a bit. There we go. That's a cute bow. Trim the ends, and I have this was the scallop that's about 2 1/4 inch in the Layering Circles collection, and then I have punched a 2-inch piece of cherry cobbler, and I stamped and then punched with a 1 3/4 inch punch there. So let me just get a couple of dimensionals here. And I already have a deer cut and ready, stamped and cut. I added a little knot of twine with a glue dot there. So let me just put this over here where it will kind of land off of my greeting piece. Okay, and there we have it. That's just how easy. But let me show you the difference. Okay, like I said, that one opens this way. If you'd like to make the one that opens long, like this, let me show you that too. It's just a little bit different in the cutting and scoring. But like I said, that also starts with an 8-inch piece of cardstock. The first punch we're going to make is at 2 1/4. Okay, so remember we started at 3 1/4 with the other one. We're starting at 2 1/4 here, and we're going to punch and score as far as you can. You're going to run off the board and maybe damage the paper if you go too far. So what I like to do, because we do need to see that score line, is use what I've started there and fold that all the way. Okay, and then when we go to our next step, we can easily line up that pointer and punch and score the next one. And we are going all the way around on this one as well. Here we go again where we're going to run off the board. So I'm going to extend my score line with a crease and punch and score. Okay. So in this case, again, we will need to score on the wide side again from corner to corner with the I'm saying with the wide side in this position. It will make sense. That's the only way you can do it when you when you go to make one. And then again, we'll burnish all of these that haven't been folded yet. And just in the same way, we're taking that point up to, oh, it's really hard to see on this pattern, but up to the score line, the intersection of the score lines, and folding that on both sides. And then we'll trim out that section just with our snips so that we have that nice opening for the card and the gift card. Need to find a way to do that without being all twisted up here. Okay, now in this case, you can see this is the wallet like this. I don't want those end flaps to be on top because they're so short and it doesn't look nice. So I'm going to fold the end flaps in first and have these upper flaps cover the wallet pockets. So these are the ones I want to round with my envelope punch board. And then be careful here again where you're putting the adhesive so that you're only under the flap. Okay, so there is that side and that side. Okay, and then you fold this up, and I've decorated in the same way. The only difference is I needed a little longer piece of my braided linen trim. I used an 18-inch length. Okay, so these are super easy and fun and a great use of designer paper, or you can use the cardstock and just decorate it differently, but I hope you'll enjoy them. Pull out your favorite papers and stamps and make them up for any occasion. Okay, thanks so much for watching.